Chapter 11. Also I, in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. And now will I show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than they all. And by his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia.
There are no divisions between chapters 10 to chapter 12 in the original scroll. It is a continuous narrative. The chapter separations were provided by the translators. Hence, chapter 11 picks up on the narrative found in chapter 10. Recall, in chapter 10, Gabriel was sent to Daniel in response to his prayers, a need for clarification regarding the prophecies of chapter 8, and the fate of God's people. Like chapter 10, the events of chapter 11 occurred on the 24th day of the first month of the year 534 BC, the 3rd year of Cyrus the Great. Chapter 10 ended with Gabriel stating that after giving Daniel instruction, he is going to battle with the kings of Persia, and after which, the prince, or ruler, of Gracia shall come. Chapter 11 verse 1, Gabriel, after stating that he stood in the first year of Darius to confirm and strengthen him, turns his attention to the future. Verse 2, Gabriel states that 3 kings shall there stand up, all mad in the Hebrew, which means to reign. 3 kings shall yet reign in Persia. Daniel lived in the era of Cyrus the Great. Cyrus's immediate successors were Cambyses, the son of Cyrus, an impostor of Smyrtus, and Darius Astaspes. Cambyses II, whom Cyrus named in his father's honor, is probably most known for conquering Egypt in 525 BC, a campaign that was organized by Cyrus. Cambyses defeated Psamtik III and claimed the title of the Pharaoh of Egypt. While in Egypt, Cambyses tried to conquer Ethiopia, but abandoned the venture when he ran out of supplies. Cambyses died under suspicious circumstances in 522 BC. His younger brother, Bardia, also known as Smyrtus, was slated to rule in his stead. Bardia died mysteriously the same year. An impostor, Gaumata, an Magian priest, assumed Smyrtus's identity and claimed the throne. Gaumata reigned only 8 months. 7 members of the royal family discovered that he was an impostor. They made an allegiance with Darius Astaspes, who stabbed Gaumata to death in September 522 BC. The Greek historian, Herodotus, stated that Darius Astaspes, also known as Darius the Great, was the 5th eldest of 5 sons to Astaspes. According to Herodotus, Astaspes was a satrap, a provincial governor, of Persis, southwest Iran, under Cyrus the Great and Cambyses II. Some sources posit that Astaspes was Cyrus's cousin. Astaspes' son, Darius Astaspes, is the 3rd in the succession of kings in verse 2 of chapter 11. Verse 2 continues, "The 4th king shall be richest of them all, and by his strength through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Gracia." The 4th king is Darius Astaspes' son, Xerxes I, also known as Ahasuerus in the Book of Esther. Xerxes was the son of Darius Astaspes and Atasa, Cyrus's daughter. Xerxes was designated heir apparent by his father in preference to his elder brother Artabazanes. Xerxes I was more famous for his riches than his military might. He is forever linked with his extravagant campaign that he organized against Greece, and his utter failure in that enterprise. Herodotus, who lived in that age, states that never before had there been such a levy of men for warlike purposes. His army, according to Herodotus, consisted of 5,283,220 men. Xerxes' cousin and brother-in-law Mardonius, supported by a strong party of exiled Greeks, incited him to take revenge for the loss that Darius Astaspes had suffered at the hands of the Greeks in the Battle of Marathon in 490 BC. The impressionable Xerxes was swayed by his cousin, and he spent 3 years, 484 to 481 BC, meticulously built a navy of 700 to 800 ships that was intended to be the supply line for his 5 million man army. Greek lore depicts Xerxes as a warmongering madman, but he was far from it. Xerxes left Sardis for the Hellespont, a narrow strait in northwestern Turkey. He placed 2 boat bridges across the strait, but a storm destroyed them both. Xerxes rebuilt the bridges and a channel across the Isthmus of Actium, known as the Canal of Xerxes, so that his troops could avoid the peaks of Mount Athos in northeastern Greece. But the size of the army was an encumbrance. The Grecian terrain was unknown and unfriendly. After a small victory at Athens on September 20th, 480 BC, Xerxes failed to conquer Salamis. Without the fleet to take supplies to the army, Xerxes had to retreat. He withdrew to Asia, left Mardonius, his nephew and military commander, in Thessaly. Mardonius was killed in the battle near Plataea on August 27, 479 BC. Hostilities continued for another 13 years, in which Xerxes was noticeably absent, and Persia failed to make inroads into Greece. Xerxes, soured by this failure, he retired to Susa and Persepolis, where he engaged in extravagant construction projects, taxing the local populace to the hilt. In 465 BC, Xerxes and his eldest son were assassinated by Artabanus, his chief political minister. Another son, Artaxerxes I, assumed the throne. Verses 3 and 4, a mighty king shall reign and his kingdom will be divided towards the 4 winds of heaven. This is an obvious reference to Alexander the Great, and the successive divisions of his throne after his death. This will be the subject of the next installment of our series on chapter 11.